Ted Cruz was on Fox News Sunday with Chris Wallace, and Chris Wallace mentioned to him that some top Republicans are really angry about him for threatening this filibuster and going ahead with trying to defund the government and the whole thing. And, well, let's take a look.
As soon as we listed Ted Cruz as our featured guest this week, I got unsolicited research and questions, not from Democrats, but from top Republicans who to hammer Cruz. Why are Republicans so angry at Ted Cruz?
Well, because this was a strategy laid out by Mike Lee and Ted Cruz without any consultation with their colleagues.
Okay, now interestingly, Ted Cruz then went on Bill O'Reilly, and he sort of tried to stay above the fray and said they're allowed to say whatever they want. He couldn't, of course, get anyone to name names about who these top Republicans are. I know we were hitting on this earlier, but does this just go back to that same divide that is brewing in the Republican Party, and that they're even sort of planting sources, even within Fox News, to make it seem like someone like Ted Cruz is too far right?
Well, Ted Cruz is embarking on a very interesting strategy, which is sort of that he can go it alone, right? That he can sort of become a TV darling alone, and that there'll be stories about how he's a maverick and a renegade. And that I think his theory is, if I raise my profile high enough and I connect enough directly with voters, sort of skipping the Mitch McConnell, John Boehner, Karl Rove wing of the Republican Party, formerly known as the Republican Party,
Right.
that if I raise my profile high enough and become powerful enough, it won't matter. They'll come back to me because they'll see in me the potential to win the presidency in 2016. There's no way in the world this guy's not running for president.
Yeah,
None.
I mean,
Zero,
absolutely.
right?
This guy is a maniac, and like all true maniacs, he's a complete narcissist, and so he's going to make lots of mistakes. And whether he's really super smart guy, so that he doesn't really believe anything he's saying. So this is all calculated. This is all crazy things, and it's all a move just for power, because that's what this guy is about, right?
Yeah.
I disagree with you. I think he might well believe it. I mean, we
really,
agree. Because it depends on what kind of a maniac he is. Like, it depends on whether, there are plenty of smart people who have no perspective. Like, he's book smart, he's educated, he's a very capable debater, as we know from we don't even know if he was any good, but whatever the Princeton debating team goes around doing.
Right.
But like when he puts on his website that he's concerned about whatever that is, UN Plan 3130 and the takeover of the world government and turning all homes in the all urban homes into hobbit homes, and he puts I don't know. Does that mean? I think that might mean that there's something wrong with him. That he's a smart guy. That he has something's misfiring inside his brain.
That he needs to. Good.
As opposed to it being calculating, which is what you're saying.
You think that he's smart, but he's trying to protect his vital fluids, kind of a guy?
Right, exactly.
Is that what you think, really?
Yeah, I think it's entirely possible.
I don't. I think that he is just very much like the guy who looks exactly like Joe McCarthy.
He does look exactly like Joe McCarthy.
And he's just a maniac who's a crazy for power. He doesn't care who he steps on or hurts to get it. And I think your point is true. He thinks that he's going to become powerful enough that the mainstream Republicans are going to have to come back to him. And I think they will come back to him. Just like they're never going to throw Sarah Palin under the bus totally.
Well, you've given me a perfect segue here, because Sarah Palin has become basically Ted Cruz's #1 supporter, but don't take my word for it.
Now, these GOP elephants that would turn on someone who is trying to fight for the will of the people, for liberty, and for economic justice, if you will, to have those turn on him is extremely disappointing. It's not surprising, though. What is surprising, though, is my dad, who is a science teacher, a natural history teacher. Dad, if you're watching this morning, if you're out of moose camp already in your home, you are a teacher, and you never told me that elephants were cannibalistic. I wish I would have known, and then we would have a different tactic in the way that we do campaign.
Elephants were cannibalistic. You see what she did there? Because the GOP is...
Sounds like your dad is also a joke writer for Leno. Yeah, that's what it sounds like to me.
Yeah.
Why do I got to slam Jay Leno?
No, that was effective, and it felt right within what we did there.
She said economic justice.
Oh, wait, Ben took his glasses off, so I feel like he's about to make a really good. I thought that was like a.
No,
I've got to.
I'm so staggered by her. It turns out that everyone who uses the word liberty is a douchebag. That pisses me off a little.
How did liberty become the word?
She's like, if I got hired to be an economic pundit, right? She doesn't grasp it. She doesn't know what she's talking about. when, like, we didn't set the bar low enough on her.
Right.
She's one of the dumbest people I've ever heard on television.
Yeah, she's empty.
She is totally vacuous. She's getting hotter.
So what is the fascination with still putting her on after everyone that she backed in 2 years ago lost and all
because
that?
there's this feeling in television that, again, if you're controversial, if you say something crazy, that it works. That's not been really tested. We don't know. That's what TV executives believe. At some point, they might change their mind on that. She has never said anything like, oh, that's such a Jew thing to do. Like, she hasn't made some gargantuan mistake.
It's not like she put like rifle bullet holes on a map, and then someone got shot in the head by one. It's not like that.
Oh wait,
it's
she
not like
did
that.
do that.
Oh, she did do that.
Right,
but she didn't. She hasn't crossed the a third rail of politics yet.
Yeah.
But she's dumb enough to at some point and not even realize that she'd done it.